All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a question that, let's be honest, trips up pretty much everyone using AWS. You look at all those database options and you're just thinking, which one am I actually supposed to use? It can be a really tough choice. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to build a super simple map to help you find that perfect fit for your app. You know that feeling. You log into the AWS console and you're just hit with this wall of acronyms. RDS, Aurora, DynamoDB, and you feel lost. If that sounds familiar, you are so not alone. Our goal here is pretty simple. We're going to give you a clear map to cut through all that noise and find the right database for whatever you're building. Okay, so where do we start? Let's begin with the classic, the foundation for tons and tons of applications, the good old relational database. This is where your neat, structured data lives. And, it's the default choice for a really good reason. And in the AWS world, that's Amazon RDS, the Relational Database Service. Honestly, the best way to think about it is that AWS is handling all the boring but super critical stuff for you. So instead of you having to worry about server maintenance, patching, or backups, RDS just handles it. The bottom line, you get to spend your time actually building your app, not being a database admin. So RDS is solid. It's super reliable. But what happens when your app starts to take off? You've got more users, more transactions, and you start needing some serious enterprise-level performance, but maybe without that scary enterprise-level price tag. And that's exactly where Amazon Aurora enters the picture. See, while RDS is all about managing standard database engines, Aurora is the engine. It was built from the ground up, totally reimagined for the cloud. So yeah, it's compatible with MySQL and Postgres, but it gives you up to 5 times the performance. And get this, its storage is crazy resilient. It automatically copies your data 6 ways across 3 different locations. For any application that's demanding and high growth, Aurora is pretty much always the right call. But here's the thing, not every app fits into those neat little rows and columns, right? For applications that need to scale like crazy, just massive scale, and move at unbelievable speeds, we have to leave the relational world behind. It's time to take a totally different path. And that path leads us to Amazon DynamoDB, which is AWS's big flagship NoSQL database. The one word you absolutely have to remember here is serverless. What does that mean? It means you never, ever think about servers, or patches, or capacity planning. You literally just create a table, start throwing data at it, and it scales completely automatically. Doesn't matter if you have 10 users or 10 million. It just works. And this right here, this is what you get. This is the core promise of DynamoDB. Insane performance at any scale. We're talking consistent, single-digit millisecond response times. It doesn't matter if you have 100 requests coming in or 1 million requests a second. The performance just stays flat. That level of predictability is an absolute game changer. So where do you actually use this kind of power? Well, think about anything that needs both instant speed and huge scale, like a shopping cart that absolutely cannot lag during a Black Friday sale, or a real-time gaming leaderboard with millions of players hitting it all at once, or maybe a system that's just drinking from a fire hose of data from thousands of IoT devices. These are all the classic, perfect use cases for DynamoDB. Okay, single-digit milliseconds is already ridiculously fast. But what if? What if your application's success hinges on going even faster? What if you need to measure your response time not in thousandths of a second, but in millionths of a second? We're talking microseconds. For that, there's DAX, the DynamoDB Accelerator. It's basically a fully managed in-memory cache that you just stick right in front of your DynamoDB table. And here's the best part. It's a total drop-in solution. You don't have to rewrite your app's code. You just flip a switch, enable it, and poof, your read performance goes from just fast to basically instantaneous. You go from milliseconds all the way down to microseconds. So DAX is this amazing specialized cache just for DynamoDB. But that brings us to a much bigger topic, caching in general. Look, using a cache is one of the most powerful things you can do to supercharge any application, not just something built on DynamoDB. Let's dig into that. And this really gets to the core of it. Caching isn't just about speed. Yes, it makes your app feel way faster to your users, but it also acts like a shock absorber for your whole system. By serving all those common requests from a super fast in-memory layer, you're protecting your main database from getting totally hammered during a big traffic spike.
Okay, so if DAX is the special tool for DynamoDB, what do you use for everything else? That's where Elastic Hash comes in. The choice is actually pretty simple. If you're all in on DynamoDB and you just want the easiest possible speed boost, you go with DAX. For literally everything else, like caching for an RDS or Aurora database, you're going to use Elasticache. It's the flexible, general-purpose workhorse that speaks the languages you already know, like Redis and Memcached.
Okay, let's say you've done the hard part. You've analyzed your needs, you've picked your shiny new database, but wait, your data is still sitting somewhere else, right? So how do you get it into the AWS cloud without causing a massive headache and, more importantly, without a bunch of downtime? Well, AWS actually gives you a really clean two-step playbook for this. Step 1 is all about the blueprint. You use something called the Schema Conversion Tool, or SCT, to automatically translate your old database structure into the new one. So think going from Oracle to Postgres. Then step 2 is moving the actual stuff inside. Use the Database Migration Service, or DMS, to copy all the data over with basically zero downtime. It's so cool because it keeps syncing all the new changes until you're ready to flip the final switch. And hey, bonus tip, if you happen to be migrating from Microsoft SQL Server, you have got to know about this incredible feature. It's called Babelfish for Aurora PostgreSQL. What it does is, well, it basically teaches your new PostgreSQL database how to speak SQL Server's language. This means you can often move your entire application over without rewriting a single line of code. It just works, and that can save you months of really painful and expensive engineering work. It's a lifesaver. Phew, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, and pretty quickly. So to wrap this all up and make it super easy to remember, let's pull it all together into a final cheat sheet to help you make the right call. So here it is, the simple cheat sheet. For any standard app that uses SQL, RDS is your safe, managed default starting point, period. When you need to level up and get some serious horsepower for a demanding app, you upgrade to Aurora. Now, if your world is all about massive, web-scale performance and that instant, predictable speed, you go straight to DynamoDB. And remember, layered on top of any of these, Elasticache can be your secret weapon, your accelerator, and your protective shield. So, as we wrap up here, I just want to leave you with one final thought. Choosing a database, it's not just about solving today's problem. It's really about building a foundation that can grow and scale with your biggest ambitions. So the real question is your app ready for today? Sure, but is your database ready for tomorrow? Thanks so much for tuning in.